Today we want to introduce environmental pollution, and our presenter is going to be Latif. And after the class today, after the lecture, we are expected to have treated the various types of pollution and pollutants, the sources, the effect, and how to control them. The subject of environmental pollution is also a crucial one that needs to be considered, simply because of the benefit of the constituent of our environment, it is the water and air, how they are able to influence the life of living organisms. Because if there is no water, or there is no air, or let's say there is no clean water and air, we know what will happen. Going by the statistics that about 90%, about 73% of our body is water. Our bones, there is a preponderant amount of water. Our kidneys, and in fact all other organs in our body. And apart from that, in our blood and every other thing that we live on, our food we eat, almost virtually everything, there is element of water in there. And in similar vein, air, we breathe in air, we make use of air. Our car tires, our motorcycles, and every other thing, we make use of air. And since these two are always in constant contact with living organisms in the surroundings, any problem that happens to them, anything that affects them negatively, directly or indirectly affect our lives also, thereby posing a very enormous amount of danger on the lives of living organisms. And to forestall that, there should be a proper study of environmental pollution and pollutants, their sources, and how to control them, and educate the general public of the same, so as not to danger the life of human beings and other living organisms, both on land and in water. Human activities, as we all know, like agricultural activities, like mining, industrial activities, they are the ones majorly that produce these substances that pollute our resources, like water, like air. So in this lecture, we are going to look at the sources of this pollution or these pollutants, some of them, their effects, and how to control them. So to start with, we are starting with air pollution. As the name implies, air pollution. Pollution is the release of harmful substances into the environment. So now air pollution is now the release of poisonous gases or other particulate matter into the air in such an amount that it poses danger on the life of living organisms. These gases are primarily produced from fossil fuels. Fossil fuels, like the fossil fuel, like we all know, burning of coal, oil, and gas. Then the little amount are also produced from smoking of cigarettes, although that one is a very small contributor to the air pollution. The major ones are the ones that are mentioned first. And apart from these gases, we have also some particulate matter, some particles that are very small in size, like dust,
sand dunes that are released into the atmosphere as a result of some activities. It might be natural activities, it might be human activities, maybe industrial activities. The bottom line is that these gases, these substances, when they are released into the atmosphere, they cause air pollution. So motor vehicles are the major contributor of this air pollution. And the last lecture, we talked about the imbalance in the weather, as in the substances in the atmosphere. We said in the cities we have too much release of gases than in the villages, simply because we have more industries, we have more motor cars, we have more population in the cities than in the villages. So relating that one to this topic now, we said motor vehicles are the major contributor of air pollution. This means that in large towns and cities, we have more release of these substances into our air, into our environment. And these motor that are the major contributor, they produce all these gases like carbon monoxide. These come from the exhaust of gas as a result of incomplete combustion in the engine, and that gas is a toxic gas. It affects the nervous system. When it enters the body of organism, it reacts with hemoglobin to form carboxyl hemoglobin. That carboxyl hemoglobin is a stable compound that prevents oxygen from being transported, and when the oxygen is being transported, everyone knows what will happen to the organism or that body. Sulfur dioxide is a major product from oil and gas and heavy chemicals, let's say heavy chemicals, and it's major irritant and it causes acid rain. And hydrocarbons are carcinogenic. Carcinogenic means they cause cancers. There are many oxides of nitrogen, like nitrogen 1 oxide, 2 oxide, nitrogen 3 oxide. So when these are released into the atmosphere, they cause photochemical smoke or acid rain, as the case may be. Lead compounds are also toxic. Lead compound can be from addition of lead compound into our fuel, motor vehicle fuel. So when these are now combusted in the engine, there's going to be release of lead compounds. Lead compounds, when they release into the atmosphere, they are very toxic because it is also it is a heavy chemical. So these two diagrams, this one show an old car, a old lorry, that we can see this is a thick smoke that is coming from the exhaust around here. So this is as a result of badly used engine that cannot convert the fuel effectively. So when this smoke now releases into the atmosphere, there's going to be release of carbon monoxide. This carbon monoxide, when it gets into the atmosphere, there is oxygen in the atmosphere already. There's going to be reaction with oxygen to form carbon dioxide. When it forms carbon dioxide, when it now reacts with water, it forms acid rain, and all of us knows what is called an acid rain. Acid rain can affect living organisms or these plants on the soil. The diagram on the right here is a release of sulfur compound from heavy chemical industry like fossil fuel industries, like other things that contains sulfur inside. So when this sulfur is now released into the atmosphere, we have what is called sulfur oxide. Sulfur oxide now can react with water to form sulfur oxide, which can be further oxidated. Oxidation of this sulfurous acid, we now call what is called an acid rain, H2SO3. So H2SO3 is an acid rain that affects plants like carbonic acid, released from this vehicle can also affect it. So how do we control it? We have said, we have highlighted the effect, where they are coming from, then how do we control it? Strict regulations needs to be passed from the government to the car producers, such that the catalytic converter is embedded in the engine. We know that in the internal combustion engine, there might not be, majority of the time, there might not be complete combustion of fuel. So installing catalytic converter now around the exhaust is going to convert the CO, the carbon monoxide, into carbon dioxide. That will not, and getting to the atmosphere, it won't cause any respiratory problem to organisms when they are being inhaled. Then apart from that, the lean burn engine is also a very important engine. That is a dual purpose engine that reduces the amount of CO and NOx that is being released into the atmosphere. Then apart from that, we have conversion of petrol burn engine to liquefied petroleum gas. Then while retain the ability to burn petrol. What we are saying is this particular engine convert petrol into this, and again it doesn't lose its ability to burn petrol. So it is an engine that convert, it is a petrol burning engine and now convert it to liquefied petroleum gas. So when it is liquefied petroleum gas like this, it doesn't release harmful substances into the atmosphere. And again, there is another unit called flue gas desulfurization unit. When it's fitted into power stations, it prevents the emission of sulfur dioxide. How does it do it? It passes sulfur compound into the slurry of calcium hydroxide. When get to the calcium hydroxide removes the sulfur compound in that product that is being produced from the power stations. So when it removes the sulfur compound, that is number one job that it's doing. The second job is to convert the sulfur compound into calcium sulfate. But the problem with this setup is the cost. It is very, very expensive. But thank God, calcium sulfate has a very high economic value. So when it is being sold, then the amount of money generated can be used to offset or to provide the source of installing this, so that there is no loss eventually. So where we are controlling the air pollution, there is no economical loss in our setup. So let us go into water pollution, because water is also very important, because it's the commonest compound. More than 70% is covered with water, with sea and land like that. It is vital to our existence, and because survival is one of the main constituents in living organisms. So adequate supply of water is essential to the health and well-being of the world's population. Any instant that clean water is being failed to be supplied into the atmosphere, then there is a problem with the organisms in the atmosphere. Across the planet, biological and chemical pollutants are affecting the quality of water. Then when we have something like that, there is going to be a outbreak of diseases such as cholera, typhoid, diarrhea, and we all know the effects of all those diseases. Then there are some other diseases that are not mentioned here that are caused by pollution of water. So what are the causes of water pollution? We know from primary school basic that water is a very high solvent, a very effective solvent. So when water is coming even from the atmosphere, like rain, like any other thing, water can dissolve anything. So on getting to the land, there are some chemicals in the land that water will get into them. When water gets into them, there's going to be dissolution. When water dissolves them, then any harmful one among them will be washed away into another body of water. So when like river, like lakes, like other bodies of water, when it now washes into them, then human being now consume them, maybe from drinking or from bathing or anything, it can cause irritation. If it is on the skin, like it is used bathing, like in the villages where they bath with flowing river. So in such a way, we can classify the solutionability of water in the negative sense. Ordinarily, water is a solvent that, in that case, we can classify it as harmful substance. But when it now dissolves harmful substance in the land, then that property now becomes what we don't want. Release of human waste and algae into water bodies. All these human waste and algae into water bodies, when they die, they deplete the amount of oxygen in the water body. So when they deplete the amount of oxygen in the water body, there's going to be an increase in the temperature of the water body, and there's going to be a shortage of oxygen in that water body. So those two combined together reduce the amount of living organism in the water body. That is what is called eutrophication. Lead dust and some other insoluble impurities. So when we have lead dust, because there are some substances that are lead are introduced, like in petrol and other things, and some other impurities like grit, those are small particles. So when they are introduced into water, then human being take them, there is going to be a pollution of water. And how do we control them? Majorly, various legislations getting the release of substances is needed. These legislations are being enacted by some bodies like WHO, all those bodies that deals with atmospheric pollution. So guidelines are provided so that the maximum amount of substances released into the atmosphere are controlled. So any organism, any industry that does not fall into it will be sanctioned. So that is very important, because if there is no such regulation, then the industries will not be willing to treat their waste, and when there's something like that, there is going to be danger in the atmosphere. Land pollution, that is the release of harmful substances on land, and that will now cause degradation of earth surface. This can be as a result of human activities, anthropogenic activities. Every other activities can affect the land and cause destructions. When they cause destruction, then we say that is what is called land pollution. So what are the causes of land pollution? Deforestation. Deforestation is human activities, an activity when we try to cut trees in our forest, we make use of trees to produce some other things. So when we have something like that, majority of the low level, the low habitant, plants like shrubs, like grasses, they are exposed to direct sunlight. So when they are exposed like that, then some of them might not be able to cope. Then they die. When they die, our soil is exposed to direct sunlight, the organisms in the soil that are supposed to be of benefit to our agricultural plants will die, then agriculture is affected indirectly. Soil erosion also, agricultural activities also, like introducing of fertilizers and other things. So when the fertilizers are introduced into to make the crop germinate and produce large seeds, these fertilizers can be washed into water bodies, then indirectly they have caused water pollution. And again, if they are not washed into the water bodies, there can be excess of them that remain undissolved. When they are now undissolved, instead of providing what is needed to the plant, then they become menace, because they will affect those plants and the plants will die of mining activities. Mining activities create cavity in the land, they create another layer, space under land. So, and the nature will want to reclaim the land by itself, thereby do what is called carving in. The land at the top will now carve in the enter. Then when they enter to fill the space left by these mining activities, then the aesthetic value of the land is disturbed. Then the land will need to be reclaimed. When land is reclaimed, many substances that are used in reclaiming the land can be a source of land pollution. Industrialization and construction activities. Industrialization release substances like hot water, like chemicals, into the land, then cause land pollution and cause death and destruction to every other thing that are on the land. Construction activities damage the structure of the land. The environmental impact is it's one of the effects of land pollution. Environmental impact, something like such that if there is land pollution, as we have explained before, there's going to be global warming, because the green substances in the land will not be able to provide the enough oxygen that are needed, then enough control and making everything balanced in the atmosphere. Then again, we have what is called global warming and greenhouse gases. Effect on human health. Release of substances on the land affect the plant. Then when human being now eats the plant, then those substances are passed into the body, and when they are passed into the body, that can affect human health. Cause air pollution. Land pollution can cause air pollution, yes, because those substances are released on the land, then they cause air pollution. So this is just what we need to learn today. But before we go, let us have a control of land pollution. So after we have discussed about the control of land pollution, then we now go to solve problems. How to control air pollution, because land pollution is something that is rampant, especially in the villages, and so as such, people need to be orientated to the concept of how to reduce the consumption of substances that can cause land pollution. Then they possibly recycle them and reuse them, because when we have the reduce, recycle and reuse attitude, it's going to reduce drastically the substances that can cause land pollution. Then they reduce the use of fertilizers and pesticides in agricultural activities. In fact, it's a very important measure. simply because we have ever increasing population, and agriculture is not feasible again with the use of crude implements. So farmers have resorted into the use of pesticide, fertilizer, and other mechanized method, and that, although economically is good, but environmentally it is bad. And when something like that happen, we are increasing, the population is increasing, and agricultural products is increasing to meet the demand of the population, and indirectly we are causing menace to the atmosphere. So there has to be a strike of balance in between the two, and we cannot reduce the population. Then what we can reduce is the amount of the pesticide and other fertilizers that we use. Avoid buying packages items that will lead to garbage and end up in landfilling site. Then biodegradable products they are very, very important, because they will be degraded, then they will not cause any harm. If they are not biodegradable, then they remain in the soil like that. When they remain in the soil like that, they also call landfill site. They cause baggage. So this is the end of today's class. But before we go, let us have a quick recap. Air, water, and land pollution are caused by the release of substances into them, and the release can be as a result of human or industrial activities like farming, like industrial setup, like mining, even recreational, sometimes construction of roads, dams, drainages, all can cause pollution. Depends on how it is being done. Such pollution affects the lives of living organisms both on land and in water, and adequate control measures need to be put in place to mitigate this event. So let us have some problems to solve in order to demonstrate what we have learned. Carbon dioxide is considered dangerous if inhaled, because we have talked about the competition with oxygen in the blood to form carboxyhemoglobin. That is, when it's reacts with hemoglobin and displaces oxygen, it forms a stable compound, and oxygen will not be able to transport itself. The oxygen demanding waste, those are organic waste released into the water. So when we have something like that, they deplete the amount of oxygen necessary for aquatic organism in the water. That is another evolution. Oxygen demand, or chemical oxygen demand. We have chemical active oxygen demand also. Environmental pollution is worsened by the release of automobile exhaust of dash. Water vapor, no, water vapor is not harmful. Steam is not harmful. Smoke is harmful also, but worsened, that is a key word here, is worsened when the exhaust now contain heavy metals like lead. That is the problem. The substance list considered as a sort of environmental pollution is that we have organophosphorus compound, we have lead compound, uranium compound, silicate metal, and out of this, I think silicate is the least source of environmental pollution, simply because uranium is heavy metal, lead is heavy metal, organophosphorus compounds are complexes. So option A is the answer. So a carcinogenic substance, we talked about that before, that it contains cancer. They are mostly hydrocarbons. This one is not hydrocarbon, nitrogen oxide. Nitrogen oxide is not hydrocarbon. Sawdust is not hydrocarbon. This one is hydrocarbon. Asbestos dust is the answer. Option C. The gas that is most dangerous pollutant to humans is dash. Sulfur dioxide, carbon dioxide, nitrogen oxide, hydrogen sulfide. Number 1, in answering this type of question, if you don't know the property of maybe any of them, and maybe you know maybe some, so you can use the process of elimination. So let us try that method here. Carbon dioxide is not a pollutant, so it's not too dangerous. except that it causes acid rain. This one also causes acid rain. This one also causes acid rain. So invariably, this A, B, and C, they have almost the same effect, depending on the quantity in the atmosphere. So the one that is now most dangerous is hydrogen sulfide. That is what can break to form sulfur compound. That is the answer. Option D is the answer. So this is where we are going to stop for today, and thank you for listening to our lecture. The next class is going to be on water, the treatment of water, hardness of water, all those properties of water. We are going to treat them by the grace of God. Stay tuned, and God bless you as you're listening.